Geremy, Jasper, the director, and Bridget Everett. Our co-star. Woo!
Thanks, guys. Good evening.
Welcome, Austin. You just flew in.
Thanks. Come on, Bridget, get over here.
We're proud on it. So I got a few questions for these guys. Then we're going to turn it over to y'all because I'm certain you guys have a bunch of questions. You just got here, right?
I just got here 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
10 minutes ago. Welcome to Austin.
Thank you.
What do you think of the place so far?
Love it. And everything you're doing with it. Yeah.
Barbecue, queso, breakfast tacos, all that stuff, right? All right, we covered the basics. So Geremy, I was reading earlier. Is this your first full-length film?
This is my first film, yeah.
First film. You also did music videos and
I cut my teeth doing music videos, yeah.
and so this you developed this over a number of years, including with the Sundance Labs.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So it was my first screenplay, and I was lucky enough, about a year after starting to write it, I got into the Sundance Screenwriters Lab, which kind of made me slightly legitimate. And then through the Directors Lab, that's where I brought Bridge and Danielle and Sid out to Utah, and you kind of live on this mountain and shoot some scenes and get to know each other, and they sort of mentored this film.
How did it develop from A to Z? I mean, what was the difference from when you originally wrote it? What we saw.
The film the script that I originally wrote, which I wrote the first draft in 19 days, was like a really crazy 80s heist film with hip hop. Patti. It was like some of it was the same. The characters were the same, but like there were underground tunnels. Ozzy lived in a casino that used to be owned by Al Capone. And there were holograms, and it was just like it was like this film on brown acid.
Well, this was good, but that'd be fun to see.
Yeah, it was just a little too expensive to make, I think.
I read that one of your mentors was Quentin Tarantino.
Yes.
I had one very brief encounter with Quentin Tarantino, and it was exactly as I expected. What's it like being mentored by Quentin Tarantino?
Well, he read that draft.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was like, "I really like it. It's your movie. I got it." But like he thought the whole second half of the film was a dream sequence. So I realized, okay, I got to get back to work. He was amazing. He gave me a lot of good advice that I kept in my pocket all the way through this process. You know, he's the maestro.
He's the maestro, absolutely. And Bridget and you got pulled in after a couple of years. I mean, how'd you first get involved?
Well, my agent called me and was like, "Do you want to go to the Sundance Labs and work with a first-time writer-director?" And I said, "No."
That's good honesty.
I mean, but it really wasn't because of any. It was mostly because I was just. I read the script and I was like, oh, I'm not like an actress, so leave me alone. But Geremy was really persistent, and my agent was, and my friend Nadia was like, "Look, you go there and like." Robert Redford's, walking around there in his little cutoff shorts. Worst case scenario, you're gonna see that. And I was like, all right, I'll go. But I did and like we sat around the table, me and Danielle and Geremy, and we read through a scene, and I was just like stumbling over the lines and like totally taking a shit all over everything. and Jeremy's like, just don't worry about it. Just take the pressure off. This is going to be great. And I very quickly fell in love with both of them. And I was like, you try to give this part to somebody else. When you get financing, I'm going to cut everybody's dick off. So here I am.
True story.
Welcome. So, how did you form this guy? How'd you get on? how'd you pull these guys in? Sid is a first timer altogether.
Sid,
right?
I found on, I don't know if you guys know this website called World Star Hip Hop, but it's it's a famous, or infamous, rap website where people post their own rap
Sid plays
videos
Jerry.
or fight videos, and he posted some videos that he had made as his character named Don and Jay the First. I saw them and I just fell in love with the guy, and I just knew that he was the right guy for Jerry. He had never acted before. He was just graduated from college, and so he came out with us to Utah. And then we spent 2 years kind of, I wouldn't say teaching him how to act, but like learning how to feel comfortable in front of the camera.
He needs to do more acting.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
now he's, you'll see him. He's the lead in Aladdin coming up. I'm just kidding.
Broke some news over here. But Danielle, she'd never done rapping before, though, right?
No, she had never done rapping. She's Australian. She's Australian, had never rapped. She's as different from Patti on the surface, would you say?
Yeah, she's like I remember when I showed up at the Sundance Labs and I was really nervous to be there, and I go sit at a table and she sits down right next to me, right. Hi, how you doing? I can't do an Australian accent. She's so just the best friend down the block, that's kind of her. She's very, and so all this was like a real transformation for her, and not just rapping, and not just a Jersey accent, but rapping with a Jersey accent. And Geremy was writing raps he kept changing them, and she had to learn them on the fly, and it's really difficult.
So you wrote all the raps?
I did, yeah.
Is there one segment in particular that you're particularly proud of?
I like that people's favorite song in the film actually says an impotent dad, I'm a bad motherfucker. I don't think they understand that that's what they're saying, but the fact that I was able to sneak that into a pop song I love, yeah.
Get a lot of great mental images here. Robert Redford in cut-off shorts. Do you rap? I mean, do you have a personal experience?
Yes,
or you just write?
Yeah. I mean, not anymore, but I was like Patti. I mean, I grew up where this takes place. I was this chubby little blonde kid, obsessed with hip hop, performing at talent shows, going up on stage and performing these ridiculous raps to people, thinking, I'm not thinking anything, but realizing that I was probably the laughingstock of my grade school. And then in high school, I had long pink hair and I was wearing a dress and I would rap on at any talent show. I was like a 90s nightmare, yeah.
Are there any moments or scenes from the film that are just exactly from your life and completely autobiographical?
The strip club scene, the first record I made was in a pet store, in the basement of a pet store. I'm trying to think. I mean, we used to play in Newark all the time and get stuff thrown at us. And yeah, I took my licks.
You took your licks. Yeah. So Bridget, as you were preparing for this first dramatic role, what did you do to prepare? What was guiding you as you were kind of leaning into this?
I just sort of leaned into the cunt,
Sure.
There's a side of me that's cunt. And
It's gonna be on T-shirts next week.
yeah, lean into the cunt. I mean, I don't know. I also I was going through some stuff in my personal life and hadn't really figured out a way to work some things out. So it was a way to sort of feel some emotions and do it around a room full of people and sort of just, I don't know. Geremy and Danielle were great, so it just didn't seem like a big deal.
You got to do some karaoke, right?
I live for karaoke.
You live for karaoke. Is that what got you into cabaret?
I got discovered in a karaoke bar.
What's the story there?
I just was killing it on top of a karaoke bar. My friend Jason, who's around a theater, was like, he's like, I think you should make it into a show. And I was like, okay. And I just said yes, and here we are.
If only we had a karaoke bar close by. Have you known people growing up like Barb or like Patti?
Yeah, I feel like Barb is sort of like 3 parts. You know, she's part me, she's part my mom in the 80s, like single and bitter and drunk, and then another part of this blood relative who I can't name. But then, yeah, but like looking at, you know, the great thing about this movie and what I love about it so much is that it's a real reflection of the people in my own life, you know, like the different size, shapes, and colors, and sort of flawed people, and definitely the people at the bar, and it just feels like a slice out of life, you know, not like a Hollywood picture, but a slice out of life.
Yeah. And that, Geremy, that's what I was thinking of as I was watching it. It felt very, very, very realistic. I mean, and was that key to you going in?
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would like pitch people the idea of the film, and or even a script, and people would imagine. I think they would imagine like the Hollywood version of it,
right,
over and over again. And I was like, no, that's not what it is. Like, this is about real people. It's about people that I grew up with, and like we need to treat them with dignity and respect.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a film about like, hey, there's a fat girl that raps, ha ha ha, you know, which I think would be the studio version of Patty Cakes,
right,
and we did our damnedest to stay away from anybody that ever put us in that situation. And so yeah, I don't know, I wanted to find that humanity in these characters, and so the way that we shot it and the decisions of how it was, you know, art directed, production design, the costumes, all of that was all about how to make it feel as real and authentic as possible. Yeah.
Was the mother-daughter that aspect of the story from the beginning?
Yeah. It evolved over time, and like I don't think Barb was a singer at first, and there was a dad involved. We actually shot. Patty's dad actually showed up in what we shot. Do you know the actor Artie Lang?
Yeah.
He actually played Patty's dad, and we shot this amazing scene where he shows up at a garage sale, and he's like, "I'm back, Patty. Like, I'm gonna take you to New York," and she has to say no, and it was really beautiful. It just we didn't have enough time and space in the film.
To be on the DVD.
That'll or maybe it'll be in the miniseries. I don't know.
All right. Favorite rapper?
Andre 3000.
Favorite rapper / singer?
Well, my favorite rapper is Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys, and my favorite singer is Barry Manilow.
And speaking on karaoke, what's your go-to karaoke song?
You know, the piece of my heart's the You Oughta Knows. But I cut my teeth doing Born to Be Wild.
And Geremy, how about you?
Wanted Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi.
I'm gonna throw it to you guys. Any questions out there? Right there.
When you're making film, you have to like adhere to a lot of tropes about how the audience decides how the story works. So how did you do that in a very unique way that is very this movie, as opposed to how Hollywood sees it?
I mean, there was, because this was such a small film, we made it for about $17, and there wasn't a lot of, you know, I never thought we were going to be here to show it to you. I thought we were going to show it to our family and friends, so there wasn't the pressure of what is an audience going to think. Like, we showed it to some friends while we were making it, and we were able to see what was working and what was not, and cut certain things out, but just more for emotional, dramatic reasons. So I think because we had our own little bubble, and we were kind of this independent garage band making this film, we stayed out of any of that bullshit. Yeah.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks.
More questions? Yes.
What was up with the religious allegory? Why did you
Well, the Jersey Devil is a big thing in Jersey. It's like a big myth. You know, it's about this woman cheated on her husband and had an affair with the devil, and she got knocked up by the devil, and her 13th child was this demon that murdered her and her whole family, and then he lives in the woods in Jersey. And so I was really into like that being sort of bastards, spirit animal or something. And then you have the gates of hell, which actually exists in Clifton, New Jersey. So there's all these myths in New Jersey about the devil, and it's kind of like sort of a strangely satanic place. And then hip hop is all about like rappers calling themselves gods and like making themselves bigger than life. And that was something that I was really interested in because Patty's obsessed with hip hop, and her actual god is this guy who's calling himself a god. And then, so then you start to kind of play with gods and devils, and Bastard thinks he's like the most evil man in the world, where he's really a sweetheart who's just like some mama's boy. So I don't know, you just kind of play with those things.
Speaking of Jersey and gods, your movie opens with a Bruce Springsteen song. How fucking cool is that? Your first
Pretty
movie.
good. Yeah, the fact that Bruce gave us a song was unreal.
That's
unreal. Yeah. It's like he's more like the Jersey Pope.
Yes.
Is there a one-to-one direct correlation with the Wizard of Oz stuff and each of the characters in that and each of Patty's friends?
Good question. Yeah, it's not a one-to-one. I tried to make it a one, but I realized no, it doesn't quite fit. But OZ obviously as the man behind the curtain, and not all that he's cracked up to be, and Emerald City Records, and just living in New Jersey, where I was from, you would park and just look at New York City, which felt like Emerald City, like that. But the George Washington Bridge isn't really like the Yellow Brick Road, but like it just felt so far away. So yeah, I wanted to play with that kind of stuff. But yeah, there's no like, I don't know who's the Cowardly Lion, like it doesn't really, it's not that planned out.
Just tell them it's all there, and you can
it's all there.
More questions? Right there. Say again.
Oh, those are my parents.
Who are Jeff and Lois? Was the question.
My parents.
Right there.
Kathy Moriarty is kind of a surprise in this movie, maybe because I don't remember her from the preview, but because she's also really different in this movie than the type of person that she normally plays, kind of an elegant, character. And so I'm curious if she just like jumped headlong into being something different, or if it was something kind of had to pull.
You want to talk about Kathy?
I love talking about Kathy. I can tell you Kathy's version of this, or I can tell you mine. I'll tell you mine because it's a little shorter. They worked on a short together with David Beckham, okay? And then he gave the script to Kathy, and I remember him saying like, oh, we're going to ask Kathy to play Nana, and I was like, okay, she's not going to do it. I did the short with her. Anyway, he sent it to her, she read it, and she took a little time, she got back to him, and she loved the script. And she just was like fucking game. She put on that little wig, she hopped in her wheelchair, and she's a fucking star, and she started with Raging Bull, and here she is today. But she's like the maternal, she's like the womb that we all flock to. She's great.
More questions out there? Way in the back.
Yeah, hi. Great film, thank you. I was just wondering if there was anything in particular, sociologically or politically or in your personal life, that caused you to make this film at this point in time.
Well, this film, I've been working on it for, come the end of October will be 5 years. So, it was my first screenplay. It was, they say, write what you know. I know this place, I know these people. I'm a music freak, a music lover. It gave me an excuse to write all these songs, and Patti being sort of an alter ego for me. So I think like now in this era, now everything's looked in political terms, but this was more about, I'm from kind of Trump land in a way, and I wanted to write a story about a dreamer or a poet, basically, from this shithole that's just trying to get out. It was really simple. So that was the inspiration, and it took a lot of years to make. And things changed over those 5 years drastically.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about the inspiration for Bob?
Yeah, sweet Bob. So I just want to say that Bob is played by Mamadou Ache, who's as different from Bob as you can possibly get. He's a Yale graduate. I wish he was here right now with us. You have anything to say about him?
He's so elegant. He's single and like so suave, and like we're always at the bottom, like, hey, he's single. Like I'm always trying to. Just, like, so yeah. So I mean, he's like, if I was 20 years younger, he'd be here now. Is that your question? I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, Bob is just, I grew up with a kid like Bob. I also grew up going to hardcore shows, and you would always see like 2 or 3 black kids at hardcore shows, and I always wanted to, it's like I've never seen that kid on screen. So I just, there was a part of me at that age that was very Bob-esque. So it was, he's the yin to Patti's yang, and they just kind of fit together. So yeah, that was it.
A few more questions. Right there, gentlemen.
With Bob, how did you decide? He was so mysterious. How did you decide how much to hold back and reveal about his character?
That's a good question. Yeah, that was all in the edit. I had there were some moments where he gave these long speeches. He gave this long speech about the Jersey Devil, and there was this animation of this woman giving birth, and we just cut it out. The less he said, he was such a good actor. Mamadou could do so much with just an eye movement and a twitch. He was almost like a silent movie actor, that I realized the less he said, the better. And then I did a cut where he said nothing. And then I was like, oh, okay, that's too much. So then we started to bring more in. And then I actually rewrote some stuff or wrote more for him. And then we did some pickup scenes with him, because Bob was originally written as more of like a hot topic kind of, sort of like a suburban goth that you would kind of goof on. And Mamadou made him kind of sexy. Like he just had this presence and this depth and this integrity that I realized, oh, okay, he's bringing something deeper here. And he's much more attractive, I would say, than what I was originally imagining. And like, he's the true artist, actually, out of all of the characters. And so went back and rewrote some stuff, and we shot one day, and it just kind of clicked together. I forget your question though. What was it?
How did you decide how much to reveal?
Oh yes. So then it was just like, okay, Bob's saying too much, Bob's saying too little. Like we were just you just shape it over the many months that you're in the edit room. Yeah.
Right here.
I really enjoyed your character, Patti. And so, yes. And so my question, I love the moment when you're at her show and you come up to the front and y'all had that really beautiful moment. When did you film that? Was it at the very beginning and so y'all's relationship was building, or was it more at the end when you've had like a solid run with her?
If you're in the back, she's asking about the scene at the climax, I guess. We filmed that, I think, towards the end. And, immediately upon meeting Danielle / Patti Cakes, like I felt maternal towards her, and And it was actually like a real situation. Like, she was very nervous being up there rapping in front of a room full of people. Like, legitimately, she cried before they shot it. And I was overcome by like the every time I would walk in and like the hook of like Tough Love would come in, I was overcome by that, because thinking about how just that it wasn't a stretch to think that Danielle would do that for Bridget. You know what I mean? And that like Patti would do that for Barb, to put her hook in the song. She's so sweet, and like I just would always just feel overcome, like walking towards her and seeing her rap and then hearing that song, and we would cry every take, and we did a lot of takes. But you know, yeah, that was late in the shooting. But if we shot that the first day I met her, it would have been the same thing, because as you can see from watching the movie, she's somebody that's just wide open, and it's easy to love her and want the best for her.
After the movie is over with, I mean, what do you, in your mind, and in your mind as well, I mean, what do you think happens? You know, how's she doing 5 years from now?
So,
I think Barb and Bob hook up.
Sure. You're developing that script, right?
Yeah, it's no, okay, but like there's an undeniable. They have you guys never. They cut the scenes. There's stuff where Barb and Bob just are across the room from each other, and it's explicit. It's so explicit, but just in the looks, not in the body, not in any. So yeah, I think Geremy was talking to Geremy and what I was thinking was that you remember like Cinemax in the early days when they used to call it Skinemax? Like I think I'm sorry.
5 years from now, that feels about right. Does it match your expectations?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I haven't thought that far in the future. What happens to Patti in 5 years? I don't know. You know, it could all work out for. I was in Jersey and heard my song played on the radio in Jersey, and nothing changed. So it could. You just don't know. You just don't know.
There's a lot of bands in Austin that know that feeling.
It's a cold world out there.
Yeah. We have time for one or two more. Way in the back.
You called Patti your alter ego. Was the character always a woman?
Always.
Okay. And any reasoning behind why you chose? Which, thank you, by the way, but any reasoning behind?
I mean, the character popped into my head when I was 23 and living in Jersey. Like, she just seemed, she kind of came fully formed in a way. She was based on the big women that I grew up with in Jersey that were really tough and like, you know, you wouldn't want to cross, that had sort of a hip hop attitude, even though they listened to Barry Manilow, you know? So it just clicked for me. That was interesting for me. That seemed to subvert something in the hip hop world that felt way more, I don't know, exciting to me. But I didn't think about it very much. It was just like, oh, that's a character I love. I'm gonna follow that. I'm gonna follow her wherever she takes me.
You had mentioned you discovered Sid on World Star. Was his character always Indian?
Always Indian. Yeah, always Indian. Like I grew up with a lot of Indian kids, and my best friend worked in a pharmacy. It was always just like, they just, I don't know, it just kind of clicked. Yeah, all the characters are the way that they were originally imagined. Nobody changed gender or race. They were always, you know, and then it was a quest to find the right people, you know, for those characters, and we went kind of rogue and, you know, cast it on the internet, or, you know, bring someone like Bridget in who's never done a dramatic role, but it, you know, they were people that felt real and right to me for this world.
One last question. Let's make it good. Who's got it? Right here.
So, have you had that experience where you meet somebody that you idolized and they just crushed you like that?
The question is, have they met someone that they idolized? Let's ask for both of them.
Yes. Well, I used to wait tables for about 25 years. And I waited on a lot of famous people, but one of them I really love, that movie, Mr. Holland's Opus. Thank you. And I waited on some of his name rhymes with Richard Marifus.
Okay.
It was a fucking nightmare. I mean, I live in New York, you meet a lot of people, but he really sticks in my mind. Geremy?
Have there been famous people that you've met who absolutely just were exactly what you hoped they'd be?
So many. Do you guys know Patti LuPone? She's a fucking shit. Like, Patti, like, if you're a Trump fan, I apologize, but like, I don't know if you saw that red carpet clip of her recently where she was like, what would you do if Donald Trump showed up at your show? She's like, I wouldn't go on. And they said, well, why, Patti? Why? She says, well, I hate the motherfucker. How's that? And that's Patti LuPone's routine. She does not disappoint.
I'm trying to imagine Donald Trump going to a Patti LuPone. How about you?
Yeah. Well, I've had both.
Yeah.
So, I met Quentin, and that was I was presenting him with the first screenplay I'd ever written, and he couldn't. Yeah, that was I told him this is my OZ moment. Like, don't shit on me. And he just kind of turded on me a little bit. It wasn't that bad, but he was very gracious and warm and supportive, and so that was kind of an amazing experience. I got to, because I was a music video director, I got to work with my favorite rapper, who I will not say who it was, and it was the worst experience of my professional career. He's a very famous person. I won't go where Bridget went. I will not rhyme his name. But yeah, it made me want to kind of give up, just because he kind of hijacked my, I'd like to keep it fairly light and loose, and it became like someone hijacking what I did. And so, yeah, that kind of played into what was going on here. But yeah, they say don't meet your heroes.
All right, so you worked on this for 5 years. You got something else in the hopper?
Yes. I'm working on something new. That's as different. I'm finally getting out of New Jersey. Like, it's finally, it's a very, very different. It's very, very different from this. Yeah.
Cool. And Bridget, you have something else coming out this summer, right?
Yeah, I have. I shot a pilot for Amazon. It comes out on September 1st. It's called Love You More. I hope you'll watch it. I did with Michael Patrick King and Bobcat Goldthwait. Lonnie Anderson plays my roommate. And
that's awesome.
She's fucking magical. And then I'll just keep touring. If you haven't seen me live before, I come to Austin all the time, so please keep your eyes peeled.
Bridget, Everett, Geremy, Jasper.